Well, this should be interesting.
Very interesting.
One of the things I've noticed about myself is I like to hit, watch me hit my buff like 4 times here. It's like a nervous tick. You're going to see me do it again. That's one. And then I'm going to do it one more time. just,
Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah. Got to make sure all your T's are crossed and I's are dotted.
I mean, yeah, you don't want to lose to your attack damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for this boss, one of the things I noticed kind of a few runs in is this imploding strike that he does is I feel like it almost has an execute property and that it does like more damage to you the lower you are.
Hmm.
So one of the things I tried to make sure was that I was mitigating like constantly, not just having shield buck up for the hits, but like kind of having it up for all of the autos. Try to maintain my health as high as possible through the whole fight, using my ignore pain for my rage dump instead of revenge most of the time.
Yeah. Now I hear that doing this as tank, the tank spec is definitely the play. Because I hear
Yeah,
that the damage from the auto attacks is just way too much for most DPS to handle. Did you try it at all on a different spec?
I did not try it, but one of our fellow guildmates, Pine, has been trying it on a bunch of different specs and has been finding difficulty with the damage profile for sure.
Yeah.
I know some of the classes that have done it. Like one of the ones I heard about was Survival Hunter. But basically their rotation was like pet dies, res pet, keep pet alive, pet dies, res pet, in that cycle.
Okay. That
Which is,
almost feels a bit like cheating.
if it's a mechanic in the game. So here's our first phase. 75%. He spawns these two little guys. They're not too bad. It's actually kind of a nice breather because he stops hitting you, and so you get a chance to get your my victory rushes back to heal myself. The big thing you have to worry about with these guys is positioning because you can get stuck with them in the beam, which can be really hard to deal with. And then they have that ability they just hit me with, which is that nice purple thing on your screen. It's a pretty nasty bleed. So you want to try to hard stun that if you can. Try to save yourself some health. And then top yourself off here with resetting your victory rush on these two ads so that you're ready to go when he spawns back up again. But otherwise, that ad break at 75% is pretty good. The big thing I noticed is you kind of want to save your avatar for the ad phases because you really need to get them down within the timer.
That's what I was going to ask if it was a DPS check that phase.
Yeah, it's kind of a soft DPS check. I mean, um my Valeera isn't super high leveled. She's in the 20s range, so I kind of have to rely on myself a lot for damage. So a couple of the times, if I noticed that if I didn't kill them fast enough, it would make the fight really messy, and then you usually just kind of die to him.
Yeah. So his phase there, does it end only when the ads are dead, or does it end regardless if the ads are dead or not?
It ends regardless. There's a timer on it. So you do have to kill them in a certain set time, and that becomes more so important for the ads at 50% and at 25%. The hardest one being 25%. Going back to this fight here, it's almost like really nice for warriors because again he does a lot of really big damage and a lot of its physical attacks, and we're great at mitigating the physical attacks. So as long as you keep your shield blocks up and you're managing them that well, the big thing is not panicking, is making sure that when something's coming in, you're kind of checking your shield block, not spamming it, so that you're caught without it. Making sure you're really keeping that maintenance tight and keeping that ignore pain up so that you're mitigating as much as possible. The other thing too is trying to optimize your victory rush. Like you want to use it to keep yourself topped up as much as possible, but don't want to do it too much. Okay, so these ads are so annoying. They hit you with this like stacking poison. And so what you want to do is kite them and try not to get hit too much, slow them, hard stun them, kill them. I found the best way to is like trickle them across the stage, let Valeera kind of do some work on them, get some aggro that she could, and then you want to reset. So it's almost best to not kill them all at once, but kill them one at a time as a warrior so that I could reset my heal off each of them. You can see I got like 2 stacks now. It can easily become chaotic if you don't manage these right, and then you just kind of die. Because the other thing too is again you have to kill them fast enough so that they're not up when he comes back.
Yeah. So you mentioned Valeera. What is the max level for Valeera right now?
So when this started, I know last week the max level was 45. So there was another warrior that did this, and their Valeera was at 45, and I'm pretty sure that was the max that you could get the week leading up to this.
And yours is in the mid 20s, so you're doing it a little bit on hard mode here.
A little bit on hard mode, yeah. I tried to optimize my eye level as much as I could to make up for it. So I burned my catalyst charge to get to 2 set here. I got my eye level up to 247 by burning some crests and stuff to try to get my
Yeah.
gear as high as I could before this fight. I'm also using flasks and an augment rune. I burned an augment rune for every single one of these fights. It's actually kind of funny because on this fight, the one that I get him, I'm using an old season augment rune, so it's the weakest augment rune. It's the fight I get him on.
Funny how that works.
Yes, you can see my
And you
health
had
kind of yo-yoing. Sorry. I just want to
red.
bring up right here that ability right there, the essence. So the devouring essence can be spell reflected, and it's super important. You never miss that. That's one of the things I noticed as a warrior. The like entire fight, if you miss that devouring essence, you just kind of spiral out of control and die. And he'll sneak them in there every now and then. Like here it comes again. If you miss that spell reflect, it's pretty much over. You can kind of survive it using a shield wall and maybe a potion, but it burns too much of your resources. And so that was one of the biggest things that I would find myself messing up and then dying because of it. Here comes again. So I'll reflect. You have to make sure you hit that. It's a pretty big, like, tick. So this phase, this is the third phase, 25%. This is the hardest ad, mainly because the puddle's on the floor and you're getting pulled by the gravity well here. This guy has to be kicked and positioned appropriately because if he gets stuck in a well where you can't get to him, he'll just free cast and you can't kill him. So you have to have your DPS here. You saw I popped a pot at the beginning of this fight. I saved Avatar for it. So like Avatar, Demoralizing Shout, and Pot to try to burn this guy down as fast as I possibly could.
Yeah, and as a melee, that positioning is especially important.
Yeah, you have to kind of be watching where these waves are coming out from, which is huge. You also
Yeah.
want to be spell reflecting the shadow bolts, etc. You just don't want to. You don't want to do it right at the end because again, you don't want to miss an essence if he whips one out. A lot of times I would die because he would throw a devouring essence at me at the end here, right after an ad dies, and I would miss it. Here comes. Here's a spell reflect. This phase is really hard. This last phase, this is where I would die a lot because his damage increases. You're getting pulled constantly, and just kind of block on the screen. So I noticed that my strategy here was to try to keep my shield walls for this phase. I'm very, like I said, you want to keep yourself as healthy as possible. So here I leaped because I'm trying to avoid here. I'm going to use a potion in a second because my health is dropping. Try to keep myself up. And again, I strategically made sure I made it to this phase with my potion because this phase is so important and it hurts so much. You have to have like all of your defensives up for this phase to try to get through it, which is ultimately what I needed.
Yeah. And this is about the point where I started looking over at my other monitor watching like this might be the one.
This I was
Yeah.
no, here again getting towards end state again. I'm moving out of the stuff using a bad. I'm not even looking at his health bar at this point. I'm just trying to stay alive. I use rallying cry to get a little bit of extra health. And then I'm surprised when my achievement goes off.
Very impressive. One of the first 4,000. Nicely done.
Thank you. It's I was very excited to try to go for it. So it's kind of like surreal to like think about actually doing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that like the region is like all of America, so it's a pretty big region.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it's by region, I mean, it's still insanely difficult either way. That's not many spots available. Um, Even after you did this, you said there was maybe 400-ish spots left.
I think when
I
I
went straight
checked,
there pretty much within half an hour, and it was already up to 4,000. So it went
oh
fast.
man, yeah, pulled it out there at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm eating food at that point. Like, there's no reason for me to be eating that food.
Preparing for the next adventure.
It was really cool to see you guys were watching. I didn't know anybody was watching at this point, so it's kind of fun to like
Yeah.
pop out.
I was so close to typing "I was here" before you killed it, but I didn't want to jinx you, so I held off till you actually did it.
I appreciate that. Do you have any other like questions of that fight?
So you had Valera on DPS. I've done a little reading, and I think most recommendations is to do it on healer. So you must have had the sustain to be able to pull that off without the healing from Valera.
Yeah, it's a personal choice. I did the same thing last season. It's one of the benefits I think of being a warrior. If it's in the right like damage profile, hold on, let me. If it's in the right damage profile, then you can survive long enough. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, like, you need that damage to get through. So it's kind of an all or nothing gamble where it's like, okay, can I survive long enough? Can I make it through if I optimize my defensives and my self-sustain to use Fleera? And honestly, having her as damage was clutch because I don't know if she kicked as efficiently as a healer, but like I didn't have to worry about the kick mechanic at all because every time Valera was on top of it and she would kick it very consistently. So I could like honestly almost mentally dump that whole mechanic because she would take care of it. And then also it was really helpful for like that third ad and the middle ads. Like she honestly would pick up like half those ads and sometimes would even kill them if they were on like a bad zone. So
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been possible if I had her on healer. And also like if you're going tank, it's kind of pointless if she's healer because you honestly just I don't really think you have the damage to get through those burn phases. So
Interesting. And one last question. How hard was this compared to the other Delve Nemesises of past seasons?
that's a great question. I honestly think this one was pretty easy. So it's kind of funny because like I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. I mean, that could just be from experience of doing the previous ones. I would say probably the hardest, most chaotic one for me would have been Zekfir from season 1 of last expansion.
Yeah.
But then the one I liked the most was Princess, which my other video shows. But like Princess was cool because the mechanics were so punishing. It was very repetitive. You just had to like repeat it, and as long as you could do the cycle repetitively, you could do it. It took me longer, but that one was pretty hard because if you made a single positioning mistake, you just died. And I definitely did way more attempts on that fight than this one. Like this boss, I downed it in like 17 attempts, which like I think my first or second attempt I got him to 15%. And that's when I knew that it was possible. I just had to really fine tune my gameplay, and then it was going to be a done deal.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Congrats on the achievement.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, thanks for watching.
It's fun.